Rap fans were treated to weeks of nonstop drama during YNW Melly's trial. From the prosecution presenting compelling evidence to Melly's attorneys poking holes into the case, the whole trial had people glued to their screens. However, the rapper's conduct during the trial was rather suspicious. To some, it was outright disrespectful. Here are YNW Melly's most disrespectful moments in court. Melly in court. 4 years after rapper Jamel Demons, alias YNW Melly, was arrested and charged with the murder of his two best friends. He was finally in court to answer for his alleged crimes. The deaths of fellow rappers Christopher Thomas Jr., alias YNW Juvie, and Anthony Williams, who went by YNW Sack Chaser, came as a shock to everyone. Their families and loved ones were devastated. However, they were offered some relief on June 12, 2023, when the trial of the alleged murderer officially kicked off. For 3 months, the prosecution and Melly's defense went back and forth, trying to argue out their positions on the case. Throughout the trial, a lot of shocking and compelling evidence was revealed by the state. From cell phone data to social media messages, the prosecution was hard at work trying to prove that the rapper was guilty. On the other hand, YNW Melly's lawyers also brought their A game and demonstrated multiple instances where detectives did not do a thorough job, hence casting doubt on the whole case. While all this left the public glued to their screens, Melly's conduct throughout the trial also caught people's attention. The rapper was involved in various incidents throughout the entire trial that had many questioning his sanity, his relationship with his attorneys, and even whether he had any respect for the court and the trial. One would expect that anyone involved in a case with severe consequences such as the one Melly is in would blend into the background, not attract any unwanted attention, and let the professionals do their thing. Well, not Melly. The rapper attracted attention to himself all through the trial, with a large portion of netizens concluding that his conduct is disrespectful. So what exactly did the rapper do that had him receive backlash not only from the victim's family members but also people on the internet? Well, the first incident that the rapper was involved in saw him make news headlines.
Yeah, it's a moment that's making many cringe. Melly blowing a kiss in court.
As hard as it is to believe that the rapper, while standing a double murder trial, would do such a thing. However, video from the courtroom showed him doing just that. In the clip, the rapper appeared to pray, then finished the prayer by blowing a kiss. While this may be an innocent ritual that the rapper liked to perform, rumors started to spread, alleging that the kiss was directed to the family of the murdered victims. Was Melly that insensitive? Would he really blow a kiss to the grieving families of the victims? Well, this may have been the case, as some of the victims' family members later reacted to this in public. Leandra Phillips, the mother of YNW Juvie, had harsh words for the rapper, who he once considered a close family member after the incident. Mrs. Phillips revealed that this was not the first time that the rapper had done this in court.
He did it a couple times. Yeah. So he was doing it a couple times. That wasn't his first time.
Juvie's mom also revealed that she was forced to walk out of the courtroom because of Melly's behavior. According to Mrs. Phillips, the rapper was not showing any kind of remorse, nor was he taking the case seriously. I walked out because what are you praying for? You sitting there like you ain't got no remorse. Like every time I walk in, you smiling. This ain't the time for that. This is sad. This case is serious, she told the press. Netizens also had their say on the matter. One internet user said, "I can't believe the mothers have to put up with that," and from a person who no doubt they welcomed into their home countless times over the years as their son's close friend. Another one was convinced that the rapper had mental health issues. Obviously, the guy is insane. If I were his lawyer, I would plead insanity. As it turns out, the rapper does suffer from mental health disorders. Melly has revealed in interviews that he is bipolar and has been diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD.
Well, you're not diagnosed with bipolar or anything like that.
Yeah, I am.
So
you are bipolar.
And ADHD.
It turns out that Melly has had these issues since he was a child. According to the rapper, when he was around 12, he was taken to a mental hospital.
Yeah, I was in the 7th grade. They sent me to the bakery at.
What incident? Was there an incident that transpired that got you there? What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Oh, it's finna be some crazy shit.
Kept bringing knives to school and
What is even more bizarre is that young Melly had murderous and suicidal thoughts from a young age. As it turns out, he almost stabbed and killed a girl. If that is not shocking enough, he revealed that he even tried to take his own life.
I around and pulled one out on them in lunch.
So you pulled a knife out on someone in school?
Yeah, I did some terrorist type. I was crazy. I was about to slice my neck, slice her neck.
Oh.
And with that, the rapper found himself in a mental hospital for a whole week.
Yeah, then they just sent me to the crazy home, and I got right. They put me on.
How long were you in there?
7 days.
Oh. Yeah,
whole week,
they hit you with the...
A few years after this incident, Melly revealed in an interview that he suffered from multiple personality disorder.
How many personalities do you have?
6.
6?
Yeah.
What are the 6?
I can only reveal 3.
Wait, why?
Because the other 3 aren't going to be able to be
least until next year.
Oh, okay.
According to the rapper, the three personalities were Marcus, Melly, and Melvin.
So tell me the three.
You got Marcus, you got YNW Melly, the rapper, and you got Melvin, but Melvin just started rapping too.
The rapper revealed that Melly was cool and funny, while Marcus liked to dress up in a hat and shades. However, Melvin was more aggressive and dangerous.
What are the three personas? Like, what's different about each one?
Melvin don't play no game. For
Okay.
sure. He on your Melly, he just, he cool, he funny. Marcus, he the one like, I be in disguise. Like if I got like the shades on
Okay.
and a hat, and you can't really tell who I am, and I'm doing some regular people.
Could the rapper's behavior in court be justified by his history with mental health issues? Or is he openly trying to be disrespectful? Well, this was not the only incident that escalated tensions in the courtroom, leading to Sack Chaser's mom being escorted out by authorities. Twitter user Brisson Paul, through a series of tweets, shared what the audience watching the live stream could not see. On one occasion, he shared that at one point during the trial, authorities asked Sack Chaser's mom to exit the courtroom, which she initially refused to do. However, when she was finally led out of the court, Melly was seen laughing. The tweet read, "Melly has a big laugh as Sack Chaser's mother is requested to leave the courtroom by authorities at the end of trial after she said to him, 'I'm not going anywhere.' Sack Chaser's mom exits the courtroom." This was not the only time Melly had caused a tense moment. In an incident caught on camera, the rapper seems to be arguing with his attorney while clearly appearing agitated. Netizens also had a lot to say about this incident, as some thought that his behavior was proof that he had accepted his fate. One comment read, "Either this man is good with covering up what he is facing or he has accepted his fate," while another read, "We're basically looking at a dead man walking at this point." The outburst at his lawyer, Mrs. Raven Liberty, was particularly interesting since all through the trial, the two appeared extremely close. Mrs. Liberty made headlines during this trial for two reasons. First, her mugshot started circulating on the internet, and it turns out that in 2022, she was arrested and booked into Miami jail for battery, although the charges were eventually dropped. According to sources, Mrs. Liberty had to pay a $1,500 fine. The other reason she was trending was her notebook, which generated quite a lot of attention from those watching the events of the trial unfold. Her notebook read "evil plans and stuff" on the outside, which people thought was very strange. But one thing that caught people's attention and was taken as disrespect was the carefree attitude Melly and Mrs. Liberty showed while in court. Giggling, laughing, and making jokes while on a murder trial is definitely not the wisest thing to do. Speaking of being carefree, at some point, Melly's attitude toward the proceedings seemed rude, as he would start bopping his head and mumbling to himself. Although people watching the proceeding may have concluded that the rapper was simply disinterested in the court proceedings, there may be a reason for his actions. As it turns out, music was his therapy while in jail. When Melly was 16 years old, he found himself in jail for 1 year. During this time, he experienced his music breakthrough. In fact, it was during this time that he created his hit single "Murder on My Mind." "I remembered it, kept going over it in my head. I sang it every day," the rapper said. And now that he was facing a potential death sentence, it is not surprising that he had turned to music to keep him calm. YNW Melly's relationship with his mom was also scrutinized by the public, as text messages surfaced, showing the rapper being extremely disrespectful towards his mother. Melly went as far as to tell Sack Chaser that he had no problem if he took out his mom. "My mama. I don't consider her my mama no more. That if y'all kill her, it, brah. She ain't my mama." Well, Melly put on a spectacle throughout the trial, which kept the public talking and deeply invested in the whole trial. However, rappers' trials have always been filled with dramatic moments, as well as incidents that may easily be considered disrespectful. Disrespect in court during rappers' trials. In the recent past, trials involving rappers have always produced some kind of drama or controversial moment, from family members bursting out in court to killers blowing kisses to their victims' families. YNW Melly's trial is definitely not the only one where the public has been treated to unforgettable moments. One of the most disrespectful moments in court during a trial involving a rapper has to be the trial of XXXTentacion's killers. The killers were Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, and Trayvon Newsom. They were all found guilty of first-degree murder and robbery with a deadly weapon. However, it is important to remember that it was Michael Boatwright who pulled the trigger, killing the rapper, whose real name was Yase Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, back in June 2018. During the trial, Boatwright's behavior was almost evil, as he showed no remorse for what he had done. He even had the audacity to smile and blow kisses at XXX's family while in court, which was disturbing to watch, especially for the rapper's family. In a way, this incident may have been similar to Melly's kiss-blowing ritual. In Melly's trial, The victims' family members did not hide their anger regarding their actions. In a similar fashion, Onfroy's family did not hold back in criticizing Boatwright for his insensitive actions during the court proceedings. The rapper's grandaunt hoped that the men would rot in prison. While on the witness stand before the verdict was read, she said,
"You guys showed no empathy to the family you destroyed with your evil, callous deeds. Whatever time you've given and whichever hole you are sent, I hope it is hell and you rot there."
The rapper's manager, Solomon Soban, also let his feelings known regarding the incident in court. Having sat in the same room with the rapper's killers, he was disgusted by their conduct. In his press statement, he said, "We sat through the entire trial without seeing the defendants displaying an ounce of remorse for taking Yaze's life, smiling at us, blowing kisses, waving, without even taking into consideration that not only did they kill a son, but that they killed a father." One person who was deeply hurt by Michael Boatwright's conduct was the late rapper's mom, Cleopatra Bernard, and understandably so. Exactly 1 month after her son was murdered in cold blood, she took to Instagram to share her feelings. She posted, "Today is a month since you left us and I still can't wrap my head around it. It gets harder every day, but I will never allow your name to die. I love you with all my heart and I miss you beyond words." After the three were found guilty of first-degree murder, she took to Instagram to share her relief as her son had finally gotten justice after 5 long years. "You finally got justice, Ja," read her Instagram story. She then posted another story where she wore a t-shirt with her son's face and captioned it, "I made sure you were present in the room." When the judge announced that the rapper's killers would spend the rest of their lives behind bars, Cleopatra did not hesitate to let the world know what that meant to her. She took to Instagram, where she posted an article with the story of the prison sentence, with the caption, "God is good." She specifically had some words to the man who had shot and killed her son. To Boatwright, who taunted her throughout the trial by blowing kisses, she said that she hopes that he gets the kiss he wants so bad. Cleopatra also had some words for the other 2 convicts. She told TMZ, "My hope for these other gentlemen is they will retain a firm grasp on the slippery soap." This is in reference to an episode of the popular animation The Boondocks, where they reveal that inmates get sexually assaulted in prison showers, especially after they drop their soap when they shower. Apart from this trial, Melly's trial can also draw parallels with Tory Lanez's trial.
Rapper Tory Lanez has been found guilty of shooting hip-hop star Megan Thee Stallion.
Rapper Tory Lanez has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting Grammy winner Megan Thee Stallion in 2020.
On August 8, 2023, the Canadian rapper was sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting fellow artist Megan Thee Stallion. The incident and the whole case leading up to his conviction was full of drama. Just like in YNW Melly's case, family members talked to the press and expressed their emotions regarding the case. In this case, Tory's dad, Sunstar Peterson, was furious with the guilty verdict that his son received. Reports from inside the courtroom after Tory was found guilty described the scene as his father and stepmother screamed about injustice. The scenes outside the courtroom were not any better. Tory Lanez's dad had a lot he wanted to get out of his chest.
"I just stood here in this Los Angeles County and witnessed the worst miscarriage of justice that this world has ever seen. I got some names that I want to call. Alex Spiro, Desiree Perez, and the whole wicked system of Rock Nation, including you, Jay-Z."
So why had Jay-Z been roped into the drama? And what was so controversial that Tory's dad was forced to publicly share his frustrations? On July 12, 2020, Tory was arrested on a charge of carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle. According to the cops, they were responding to reported gunshots at a Hollywood Hills residence. As things would later pan out, he was in deep trouble. That night, Megan had a foot injury from which she was bleeding and was taken by ambulance to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center for treatment. This is where the first controversial part of the story comes in. Police reports showed that Megan's foot injuries had been caused by broken glass. An LAPD report even surfaced online that mentioned Dr. Lofredo, who attended to Megan that night, treated the female rapper for a laceration caused by glass. The report allegedly confirmed that x-rays of the supposed gunshot wound showed no bullet pieces were recovered or extracted from the rapper's injured foot. Staff at the hospital also noted that Megan was asked repeatedly about her injuries, but she stated that she never heard a gunshot and initially did not even believe that there were bullets present. In August, weeks after the incident, Megan posted a cryptic message on her social media. "Lie one more time and I'ma quit sparing you," the post read. A few hours later, she went live on her Instagram, where she revealed what would turn Tory's world upside down.
"Yes, this Tory shot me."
This sparked off a series of events that saw Tory sentenced to a decade behind bars. So why had she lied about stepping on broken glass? According to Megan Thee Stallion, when helicopters and police cars descended upon the scene, she downplayed her injuries out of fear of law enforcement. She did not want any of her friends to get hurt by cops. "I didn't want them to kill any of us or shoot any of us, so I just said I stepped on glass," she said. "For some reason, I was just trying to protect all of us because I didn't want them to kill us. Even though this person just did this to me, my first reaction still was to try to save us. I didn't want to see anybody die." In the interview on CBS Mornings, the rapper said, "The police are definitely very much shoot first, ask questions after. So I'm like, it's a hot gun in the car. I'm bleeding, I've been shot. They are about to kill somebody." Tory's side of the story was even more bizarre and involved Jay-Z's record label Roc Nation, where Megan is signed.
2 days after that, I get a call from Roc Nation that says, "Yo, we heard you're gonna make a statement about what happened, and it'd be in your best interest if you don't make that statement." But nobody has ever said she got shot. Nobody has ever said she got shot. Not TMZ, not the police report at this point.
According to Tory, Megan only came out with her story after a video surfaced showing the video from the fateful night.
Soon as she sees herself on video with the bikini and the things like that, and it looks bad, she then comes out and says, "Yo, the narrative of me getting cut by glass, it's just not true. I was shot in my feet with the intention to harm me and put harm and danger upon me."
With all the controversy and inconsistencies with the case, is it any wonder that Tory's dad lashed out after his son was pronounced guilty? This just goes to show that YNW Melly's case is not the only one filled with drama in and out of court. Progress of the YNW Melly murder case. A lot has happened since the morning of the 21st of October 2018 when a gray Jeep sped into the Memorial Miramar Hospital's driveway carrying the lifeless bodies of Sack Chaser and Juvie. Although the driver, YNW Bortland, revealed that they had been involved in a drive-by shooting, detectives found his story fishy and started digging into the case.
2 men are in jail this morning, including an up-and-coming Florida rapper. Both men are charged in a double murder. Police are saying the two staged a crime scene to make it look like a drive-by shooting.
After months of investigations, Melly and Bortland were arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder on the 12th of February 2019. The police statement read, "Jamel Demons, aka YNW Melly, and Cortland Henry have been arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The victims, Anthony Williams and Christopher Thomas Jr., were killed on October 26, 2018. The investigation, supported by forensic evidence, has concluded that Demons shot and killed Williams and Thomas Jr., and that Demons and Henry staged the crime scene to resemble a drive-by shooting." The rapper took to Instagram to inform his fans that he would be turning himself into authorities, as well as denying all allegations against himself and Bortland. In the now-deleted Instagram post, Melly wrote, "To all my fans and supporters, know I did not get locked up in Washington, but I am turning myself in today. I want you guys to know I love you and appreciate every single one of y'all. A couple months ago, I lost my 2 brothers by violence, and now the system wants to find justice. Unfortunately, a lot of rumors and lies are being said, but no worries, God is with me and my brother Bortland, and we want y'all to remember it's a YNW family. I love you, Sack Chaser and Juvie." It was soon revealed that the state of Florida would seek capital punishment against Melly, as prosecutors were certain that they could prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the rapper murdered his 2 friends. Although the prosecution sought the death sentence for Melly shortly after his arrest in 2019, they were met with opposition 3 years later, in 2022. When a judge determined that Melly was ineligible to face the death penalty. This was due to state prosecutors failing to properly notify him and his team. Melly's relief, however, was short-lived, with the death penalty being reinstated. The 4th District Court of Appeal determined that prosecutors acted appropriately, had already told the court of their plan to seek the death penalty, and were not needed to repeat the notification simply because a new indictment was handed up against the prisoner. The rapper's bad luck continued as Florida Governor Ron DeSantis made it easier for offenders to be sentenced to death. This is because, in April, the governor passed legislation lowering the bar for offenders facing the death penalty, making Melly the first person to be tried under the new law. The new law allows for the death penalty by an 8-4 vote. Previously, jurors had to vote unanimously, 12-0, to sentence an offender to death. With the trial starting on June 12, 2023, Melly was already feeling the pressure as family members of the victims had already made up their mind that Melly was guilty. Juvie's dad went on an interview where he exposed the reasons that made him certain that Melly had killed his 2 best friends. Juvie's dad revealed that right from when the murders happened, he knew that Melly and Bortland were behind everything. According to him, the 2 did not appear sad or even seemed to be grieving the loss of their close friends. In fact, he thought that they appeared to be in good spirits.
From the day one, I believe that Melly was responsible for my son's death on October 26th. His explanation, when I finally talked to him in Portland on a FaceTime, their response and how they was reacting, they showed no remorse. They didn't act like they was grieving, like they lost a best friend or nothing. They was, in my opinion, they was in the best spirits.
In fact, video footage shown in court showed that the afternoon of the day that the murders were committed, Melly went to shoot a music video where he and YNW Bortland were seen in good spirits. Apart from his initial reactions after talking to Melly and Bortland, Juvie's dad revealed that Sack Chaser and Melly had actually gotten into a physical altercation just 2 days before the tragic incident.
You know, you heard things about him and Anthony getting into like altercations about disputes about money over certain situations, and they got in a fight prior to that, and they said, like, you know the story that they say Sack beat him up and knocked his goals out in front of his girlfriend.
Juvie's dad also revealed that his suspicions were confirmed when neither of the two went to either Sack Chaser's or Juvie's funeral.
They never came to town, never came to my son's funeral, never came to Sack's funeral. And these are your best friends. He passed straight through the county of Indian River, went to Brevard and did a music video, but he couldn't even stop and pay his condolences to his best friend's mom.
On the other hand, Sack Chaser's mother, Jana Thompson, revealed damning evidence regarding money that painted Melly in a very bad light. In her deposition, Sack Chaser had reached out to her a few days before he was killed. "My son hysterically called me," she said. "He was very concerned about my whereabouts. He was concerned about his sister's whereabouts. He's concerned like something is going to happen to us, and he told me that he would not get his money," she continued. "He said, 'I'm probably not going to get my $200,000. I'm probably not even going to get my money, Ma.'" This was also collaborated by Juvie's dad in an interview.
It's not reported, but Chris told me the same story, and also it was a $500,000 play, and Melly was going to get $200,000, Sack was going to get $200,000, Chris was going to get $100,000.
The deal involved the sale of the YNW brand, and with the three being the founding members, they were all entitled to the revenue.
And as I'm hearing it from Chris, they was going to sell the YNW brand, not a record deal or nothing like that. It was like for the brand itself. And by them being founding members, they was going to get a piece of the pie.
With families of the deceased rappers already pointing fingers at Melly, he was already feeling the heat from the start of the trial. Well, after weeks of the jurors listening to the evidence, they were tasked with deciding whether the rapper was guilty of murdering his friends or not.
Stunning development in the double murder trial of YNW Melly.
After days of deliberations, the jury was deadlocked, leading the judge to declare a mistrial.
Despite the evidence presented by the prosecution and arguments brought forth by the defense attorneys, the jurors could not come to a guilty or not guilty verdict. Therefore, the judge ruled it a mistrial, meaning that the whole case would start again in a few months' time. However, the jury deliberations were also filled with drama. As it turns out, the jury deliberations did not proceed smoothly as one would expect. One of the jurors, who chose to remain anonymous, talked to the press regarding what happened behind closed doors as the jurors were deciding whether or not Melly was guilty. So why did the juror feel compelled to come forward in the first place? Was their information even trustworthy? Or was the juror clout chasing? Well, as it turns out, it was all because Melly's mom was on the internet capping about what went down during the jury deliberations. Melly's mom, Jamie King, took to her Instagram to post that only 3 jurors had found his son guilty. 9 not guilty. 3 guilty. "It was a mistrial. My son will be home. God is still working," she posted. Not long after she posted this, popular Atlanta journalist Alexis hopped onto her Instagram to give a conflicting account of what had transpired during the jury deliberations. According to her, Melly's mom was capping hard. YNW Melly's trial was declared a mistrial after the jury couldn't come to a decision. His mother posted saying it was a 9-3 decision, but it actually was a 6 decision, as 6 jurors found him not guilty and the other 6 found him guilty. According to the journalist, she had obtained this information from a lawyer who was on the case. Well, it turns out that the lawyer was also capping. The juror who went to the press revealed that the lies that were being published regarding the jury deliberation had broken the camel's back. The truth had to be told. "I don't want someone out there changing my vote," the former juror said. "You tell a lie enough and it becomes the truth." As it turns out, 11 out of 12 jurors were ready to give the guilty verdict. According to one of the jurors, who wanted to remain anonymous, the mistrial was because of one woman who served on the jury and who appeared to be determined to acquit the rapper for the murder of Sack Chaser and Juvie. According to the juror, the woman was there to cause chaos. Apparently, she even had an issue with the selected foreperson, the juror charged with overseeing jury deliberations. From day one, she had issues with the foreperson selected, at one point crossing her arms and saying she was done, the juror told the press. The juror also revealed that the woman was rude and didn't want to entertain opinions that differed from hers. When another juror asked to not shut down and set her feelings aside, she exploded. She was explosive, manipulative, she was rude. She yelled insults at anyone who had a different opinion. Even more shocking was that on the last day of deliberation, it was clear that the jurors were already 11-1 in favor of convicting Melly of manslaughter with a deadly weapon. However, the woman pulled 2 other jurors aside and spoke to them for a few minutes and convinced them to come to her side. Then she came over and announced to the group that they had changed their minds. But when another juror asked why she was speaking for them, she exploded, the former juror said. According to the former juror, the woman then hurled insults at the man who questioned her. So why would she behave this way, you may ask? Turns out that she most likely had a personal vendetta against the justice system. She had personal past experiences with the state that she thought she would get back at by derailing the case. As it turns out, during jury selection, when prospective jurors are questioned to decide whether they can be fair and impartial, the woman said she had previous experience with the legal system because of past family issues. However, she had insisted that this would not affect her ability to serve as a juror. After what was revealed, it may have been a bad idea altogether. The prosecution requested a retrial of YNW Melly immediately after the mistrial ruling. The prosecution requested to try YNW Melly and YNW Bortland together during a status hearing on July 28, which Melly's lawyers immediately objected to. The likelihood of YNW Bortland and YNW Melly being tried together is highly unlikely as it violates Melly's constitutional right to a speedy trial. According to the Speedy Trial Act of 1974, if a trial ends in mistrial, the second trial must be within 70 days from the date the ruling became final. To avoid violating Melly's rights, the trial must begin before September 30th to meet the 70-day requirement. With Bortland's trial starting on October 2nd, trying the 2 rappers together would violate Melly's retrial. However, on August 4th, YNW Melly, his defense, the prosecution, and the judge reconvened to establish October 9th as the official retrial date, which will kick off with jury selection as prosecutors hope to have 12 jurors seated by November 2nd. Before Melly was escorted to his cell following the status hearing, he told his mother and family in the gallery, "I'm coming home." Melly is yet to be granted bond, even as Sack Chaser's mom urged the judge not grant him bond. "I don't think he should be granted a bond at all," Mrs. Phillips said during the bond hearing court session. It has been one hell of a ride, as Melly has treated viewers to controversial moments throughout the trial that have been labeled as disrespectful. Will his behavior change in the second trial, or will fans be treated to more of the same? Only time will tell. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.